We have snuck into the beautiful Wade Transporter right by our podium here at the BMW Motorsport Park, and an ideal opportunity to catch up with rider Quinn. And that is because when we were here on Father's Day weekend last September, that was a very memorable weekend for you in Monochrome GT4, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially for Steve, Father's Day, and we were able to take out the win, first overall outright. It was super special for myself and Steve. And I mean, for me personally, it was probably one of the coolest races and drives I've ever had. Hoping to repeat it again this year.
It kick-started a couple of really cool things. You'd already had a relationship with BMW, but I feel like that might have helped accelerate things, did it? And what have you been doing with them since then?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it did. I mean, it couldn't have hurt, right? Yeah. So this year, part of the BMW Racing Academy, it's a great opportunity for me to develop and grow, not only as a race car driver, but also off-track and just as a person. We had a week one out in Formula Medicine, and we went to the Dill simulator in Munich there. Awesome. So it's been super cool start. And this week we go to Nürburgring 24.
Tell me about that, because I can recall a photo of you with Popeye and the family there when they were racing. You were really little, right? Have you ever cut any laps around there? How excited are you and so on?
No, I mean, I definitely love to cut some laps there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've been there multiple times. Do not remember a thing because I was only a little kid. But I mean, yeah, I mean, for my family as well, it's a super cool place. I think they went there maybe 5 times. Okay. I think they were in the top 10 twice, which is unbelievable. You know, a small little team from Australia going over and doing that is pretty cool. And I'm happy I'm going over. Super grateful that we have the opportunity with BMW to see all the ins and outs of what sort of happens and goes on there. I desperately do want to get on track there one day, but we'll see.
Epic place. What about the rest of the season with that relationship with BMW? What things are kind of in the pipeline for you, Ryder?
Yeah, there's a few things. Here in Australia, the goal is the championship.
Okay.
We're really going for the championship. But yeah, I mean, Steve and I have a lot of work to do to get to that point. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, and it should be a great year.
Can we finish with, we love a good nickname in motorsport commentary, Rooster. Tell me about who crowned you Rooster? Where did that come from? And it has stuck, mate, hasn't it?
Yeah. No, so Rooster is something that Popeye, my granddad, has created. He believes that in an endurance race, you have one guy, he's the Rooster. He's sort of, you know, he qualifies the car, he starts, all of that cool stuff. And I was very, very lucky to be the Rooster at 12 hour, back in 12 hour. And I mean, just personally, internally, you know, on the bottom of my emails and stuff, you know, Ryder the Rooster.
You signed it like that?
Yeah. Ryder the Rooster, and actually we were chatting, and Dad came back and said, you know, Clark Quinn, you know, father of Ryder the Rooster. And then Popeye came back and said, father of the Rooster. Just funny things like that.
Automatically thought of your granddad's Scottish accent saying Rooster. Hey mate, great to catch up with you. Have a great year at home, but an even better year abroad. Go well.
Thank you. Thanks, Rusty. Thanks.
Rusty and the Rooster. It's a TV show in the making. Absolutely love it. Brilliant chat with Ryder Quinn, who is one of the up-and-coming young stars that we feature in the Monochrome GT4 Australia series. Richard Craill and Nick Percat back upstairs in the commentary box at an ever-changing the Bend Motorsport Park. 1 minute it's bright sunshine and a rapidly drying racetrack, and then 5 minutes later there's another little rain squall blowing across this venue. It's going to be one of those kinds of afternoons. Looking forward to this, the third race in what's already been a compelling Monochrome GT4 Australia Championship, Nick. And earlier today in qualifying, we saw the teenager, Lockie Evanet, grab pole position in the Toyota Supra, edging out the full-time supercar star in Aaron Cameron. So it was a fascinating qualifying performance this morning.
100%, and you know, Aaron's got very, very good qualifying form at the moment. So Lockie's done an amazing job, and like you said, the weather is turning it on for us at Taylor Bend, and it's not even on the radar. So the teams are looking at the weather radar, their weather stations, going, where is this rain coming from? So, like you said, 5 minutes ago, we were just looking out the window, having our lunch, going, oh, it's sunny again, but now you can see it's overcast, looks a bit gloomy, windscreen wipers on. It's going to give it to us.
It is, and it's going to be a massive battle because there is a lot on the line in the Monochrome GT4 Australia series. The Ford Brigade looks strong, as they always do, and might be able to shed a little bit more light of that as we go down to the lane for the first time with Chris Stubbs.
Thank you, Richard. Lockie Dalton is alongside me and pretty much saying what Nick just said. 1 minute you'll walk out of the truck and it's sunny, the next minute it's just started to rain. How do you set yourself up for this race?
Well, for me, I just sit here and let Camo get a 30-second lead, then it's easy. So, no, it's tricky. So, I don't know. There seems to be stuff what's blowing across what's not on the radar. So you're running a bit blind, but oh well, makes it exciting from the couch.
And from you, your season so far and everything else you're doing, how's it all coming together?
Yeah, it's a little bit slow in Super 2 land. We had a great first round, and then we have pretty much 6 months off till the next round. Then the back end of the year is really busy. So, yeah, the Monochrome GT4 series has been great to keep sharp with Aaron and the Shran boys. So, yeah, don't know. We see how we go now.
And in terms of being alongside Aaron, I mean, in particular, his one-lap pace this year in Supercar has been awesome. Are you picking up stuff from him? I mean, you're not that far apart in age and you've got plenty of experience yourself, but what's he like as a co-driver?
He's good. He's a different cat. But no, he's good. It's good to have, I guess, a reference of where he's at in the main series and where I'm at in my driving. So, yeah, I know if I'm keeping up with him in quali, I'm doing a good job.
Well done, mate. Good to see you and go well.
Thank you, mate.
Lockie Dalton with Chris Stubbs. Great chat. He's a fast young guy, and that's a really strong combination of one that had a win last time out at Phillip Island in the opening race of the championship for the Multi-Spares Racing outfit. So one of several teams that have got into the championship from a Ford Mustang point of view. The Equity 1 Toyota Supra just out of a grid position there on the wrong side of the road. That's Nick McBride. Vastly experienced Victorian behind the wheel of that car is on the wrong side of the road there, so they'll get themselves sorted before the formation lap of this 1 hour race, the third race in the championship, and that is the car that will start from pole position, the Cam Quarries and Concrete Toyota Supra. It was a fascinating qualifying session this morning, and it set the tone for the day, Nick, with ever-changeable weather conditions, but it started with a bang, not in a good way.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate. I think, unfortunately for us, we're not going to see that car on the grid today. But drivers walked away well, and then they all streamed out of pit lane again with only a few minutes to go. And Aaron Cameron on the flashes, trying to get his teammate out the way, and the timetable was just changing the whole way through. But the Supra, very, very fast.
Yeah, great lap. Lockie Evan had Caleb Patterson in front in the Porsche, who was also having a pretty good day. And then Aaron Cameron went out. They rolled the dice on a couple of cars to go to a slick tyre, which didn't quite pay off. Ryder Quinn was in the mix too. Blake Purdy was strong. This combination back after missing the opening round of the championship at Phillip Island, so the Audi qualified really strong. Daniel Fregus did the business for Toyota in qualifying number 2 by a tiny margin. In the end, it was very, very close between he and Job Stewart, but a great performance there as well for the GWR Australia entry that he'll share with young Chris White out of New Zealand. They start this one in 18th, so they've got a job to do, but they've got good pace between both of their drivers, so they are going to be in good shape. Let's go back down to Stubbsy.
Well, you just mentioned his name, Job Stewart, one of the stars of the field. A pretty nice qualifying session for both Q1 and Q2 today. Top 3 finishes in both. How's it going for you so far?
Yeah, me and Blake are pretty happy so far. Obviously, a pole would have been nice, but with the wet weather this morning, it was a bit unknown, whether it was going to be wets or slicks. And yeah, for my first time in the car yesterday, obviously, because we had a few dramas with the gearbox and things like that, yeah, we're both pretty stoked.
The car, how does it differ? What are you having to learn, and what are the changes and adaptations that you're having to make on the run?
Yeah, as funny as it sounds, I reckon the Toyota 86 is probably the most comparable because of the ABS and the traction control and all those things. It's fairly different to what I'm used to, but I'm happy to try something new, and it's a whole lot of fun so far.
It's a bit shiny out there at the moment. How's he going to go?
Oh, he'll be fine. He's done it plenty of times. I've got plenty of faith in him.
Thanks, Job.
Thank you.
Rusty?
I'm a little further down the pit lane, closer to the entry with young Jack Johnson. We told you at Phillip Island the story of the son of the AFL legend Brad Johnson, but swapping the footy boots to go motor racing. Do these conditions worry you at all? Do you revel in this sort of stuff?
No, Willie and I love these conditions. We proved that at Phillip Island. We got strong pace in the wet, so hopefully we can hold on to the tyres and hopefully might dry out for the pit stop, but we'll see what happens.
Is that a little indicator that you feel this might lend itself to the McLaren perhaps?
I think it will even itself out a lot more. We don't have much horsepower compared to the bigger cars, so hopefully the more downforce will help us throughout the race.
Quickly, what's the tunes? What are you listening to?
Killers at the moment.
Okay, there you go. Boys, before we go back to you in commentary, we'll get Hutt, our cameraman, to pan across here on the radio for Team Suter Motorsport. We talked about Wally's story before, the depth of experience in Monochrome GT4. You are looking at none other than Ludo LIQUI working with this team.
Hello everyone, Jay Murray here, driver of the Slattery's Auctions and Valuations BMW M4 GT4 Evo. Come and ride on board for a lap with me. Heading down the main straight now, up to 6th gear, reaching 230 kilometres an hour, into T1, braking at the 100, which is a key passing zone for the races, and I'm really looking forward to making some passes down there. Into turn 2 now, over the curb before entering T3. It's really important to get a really good exit out of here and up into this back straight sort of section. Through the gears now before entering turn 5, a really high speed sweeping corner flat out in these cars, and honestly is really exciting to drive through. Into turn 6 now, really hard on the brakes, deep, turning the car before getting a really good exit into arguably the best part on the track. Turn 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, which is formerly known as the roller coasters. Down into the compression now, over the curbs. Personally, my favourite is turn 10. Hitting that last curb is really fun. For a quick change of direction into turn 11, and then back into 12. Getting a really good exit here is really important onto the back straight, which can be pivotal for a really good lap time. Into turn 13 now, high speed, sweeping corner, uphill. Really want to get a good exit and use all the curb before making your way to the right into turn 14. Hard on the brakes once again, using all the track, entry and exit. Medium speed corner before a big straight onto the second last corner of the lap. Another key passing zone. Up through the gears once again. Braking at the 100 metre board, turning the car in, making sure you hit that apex on the inside and driving the car out. Last corner now, turn 18, medium speed, really use that speed through the corner, get a good exit onto the straight. Thanks for riding on board with me, Jay Murray, driver of the BMW M4 GT4 Evo, brought to you by Slattery's Auctions. Thank you and enjoy the race.
No, thank you, Jay. Beautifully done. Nice tour of the Ben Motorsport Park and board. The big BMW looked a little oversteery, and that might be a theme for this one, Nick Percat, because the rain is back and these are properly wet conditions now.
Yep, we're full wet, and like you said, there's a little bit more rain creeping in, but bloody hell, Jay was wheeling that thing. He was up and about, and yeah, drove it really, really well. So the cars head off on their formation laps, and we get the heat in the tyres, but I think we have a bit of stuff with Rusty.
Stubb been wandering the lane, and so's Chris Stubbs. I think we've been double checking if anyone is on dry tyres. I've only seen wet skies from those that we have gone and had a look at. And Dean Canto, who's originally from Sydney but now calls this part of the world home, said to me, you'd be very brave to be going on slicks at the moment. He's seen no one on the slick rubber heading out to this one.
Thanks, Rusty. Dean's workshop is about 150 metres away from pit lane here at the Bend as part of the complex, so he gets the weather here probably as well as anybody in this part of the world. Was thinking 5 minutes ago there might have been a business case to argue that you put a slick tyre on and roll the dice, but that has definitely changed. But as we look out our window, it is noticeably brighter than it was when the cars left the start-finish line to start their first of two formation laps. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those days, and I think the co-pilots will be hoping that it dries up enough to put a slick on at the pit stop when the pit stop window opens halfway through the race.
I'm definitely happy to be standing here because there's way too many decisions to be made as either an engineer, mechanic, or the driver right now. So, yeah, but as it stands, it's obviously very wet out on the Bend circuit, and everyone's just doing their best to get the tyres up to temperature, prepare themselves for the start. But it is actually insane, like you say, how much the weather has changed today. So they all seem to be pretty dialed in the wet now, and I'm fairly sure the guy sitting on pole position is quite happy with this.
Well, that shot before was looking down the southeast, and you could see the main road, the freeway down to Melbourne, was in sunshine.
Beautiful.
And it's probably 500 metres away from pit straight. So that's the kind of conditions we've been dealing with here all day. Great for us upstairs. We love it. It's awesome. And yeah, blue sky there directly above the racetrack. But pan a bit around on that shot and it'll look very, very different. So great for us. A challenge for the people downstairs trying to run a race team and trying to run a race meeting as well and understand how they're going to engineer these cars and get them into racing conditions and get them to the end of an hour's worth of GT4 racing when you've got to navigate yourself around 31 cars and a packed field with 8 manufacturers doing battle. It's been such a growth story in Aussie motorsport over the last 2 years, this category, and came into the weekend completely oversubscribed. As Nick touched on at the start, we're missing the DA Campbell Transport Racing Ford Mustang. Big crash from Tom McLennan in qualifying earlier today. It's scratched them, and also Aaron Seaton and Jason Gomersall, the reigning Silver Am Fast champions, taking no further part. Big crash yesterday for Jason on the exit of the final corner. That car too badly damaged to continue this weekend. So thus we're left with the 31 that will take the start in this one. And inside the top 10 are Toyota, Ford, Audi, Porsche and McLaren, and a BMW just outside it in the form of Ryder Quinn.
The other crazy thing is what we were talking about earlier is there is no wind here at Taylor Met today, which is, I think, the first time in how many years I've been coming here. That's the other part. Normally this place drives really, really fast, but we've got no wind to assist us at the moment.
All right, let's have a look at where your favourite drivers start. The AM Cup poll went the way of Gary Walker in the 23 car for Gomersall Motorsport, the Ford Mustang. Silver was decided for Aaron Cameron. He starts on the outside of the front row outright with Lockie Dalton to share that car. And then the Silver Am pole, and indeed first outright was Lockie Evanet and Andrew Torty in the Toyota Supra for Cam Quarries. And this is where the full grid starts. So 31 cars to take part in this. Blake Purdy and Job Stewart next. Couple of South Aussie kids in their Audi R8. McCutcheon and Quinn are next. Blake Tracy and George Medici will be strong. They've got a little bit of pit stop time added to their stop. Watch out for Jack Johnson, William Exton, the Kiwi. Very good in wet conditions. He starts this race in the McLaren. Cooper Cutts and Blake Dowdle aboard the number 10 Medici Motorsport Mustang out of 10th place. Ryder Quinn's out of 11th. Jensen Shearer for Renan out of 12th in the Porsche. Another South Aussie. McLeod and Harvey, watch for them to go full send in this one. They're out of position. Ryland Gray will be fast too in the number 67 Supra. Nick McBride's out of 15 alongside Zach Suter. Tommy Heyman a long way out of position in the Method Motorsport McLaren. Double silver class champion start this one in 17th position. Jake Camilleri will go well in the rain too. He's out of 22nd, a long way back. We saw the flying lap with the younger of the two Murrays on the grid. He's out of 22nd alongside the Jared Hughes Summer Rinsall McLaren, which is 21st. So they're way out of position too. Ryan Sorensen, Jacob Lawrence, and then back to the father and son combination of the Murphy boys. Cy Pearson out of 28th position. AM-class contenders in Nathan Callahan and Chris Lillis out of 29th. Dylan Canto makes his GT4 debut. Local driver in a BMW, and Nathan Murray rounds out the 31 cars. That's the CRC starting grid for the third race in this year's Monochrome GT4 Australia Championship.
I'm excited to watch this Mustang come through the field. Where are we coming off here? We're a long way back for the McLeod entry, and they'll have the eyes on.
Yeah, so 13th position they start this race. Bouncing back after a big shunt at Phillip Island. Looking to regain some championship points. Teammate a little bit further up the road. They rolled the dice in qualifying 2 to put a slick tyre on that car, and they were probably a lap away from making it work for them and probably putting the thing on pole. And that was the difference in qualifying earlier today. The BMW M safety car will lead the field away. It will then pull away into Shannon's pit lane, and it will be a Toyota Supra versus a Ford Mustang in the drag race up towards turn 1. So how's the combinations involved in this? So 6-cylinder, then a V8, then a V10 mid-mounted in the Audi just behind. So variety, the spice of life in motorsport, certainly so in Monochrome GT4 Australia. And what a sight that is. 16 rows of cars side by side into turn 17 looking for a race start.
and if I was Lockie, I would be doing everything I can to lead at turn 1, because the strength of his car is the middle and last sector. So I think he's going to have his work cut out for him to keep the big V8 Ford Mustang at bay into turn 1, but it is going to be crucial because it will be difficult for him to get back past.
Yeah, the balance of performance means they'll do the same lap time, but they produce their speeds differently. Super good through the fast flowy stuff. The Mustang with lots of torque and grunt for that drag race up towards turn 1. A nicely organised start for this one, looking for the green lights. It's a long, long run up the hill towards turn number 1. And it's always action-packed here at the bend. Busy behind, they're already 4 wide. Good start, Lockie Evenet. So he did exactly what Nick Perk had ordered and got the best possible jump. And Aaron Cameron's going to have to go the long way round at turn 1 if he wants to wrestle the lead away. Blake Purdy's in there as well. Cameron's going to do exactly that. And Patterson in the Porsche too, the bright green car sweeping around the outside, looking to buy into this as well.
Aaron just used the racing line to maximise the braking performance of his Mustang, and Lockie has got swallowed up in the first 3 corners here, and we see Patterson slotting into P2.
McCutcheon's got a ground as well, so in fact he's now leading Supra, the car he's sharing with Tony Quinn. That's the game over car, up to 3rd place behind Patterson that he shares with Kent Quinn. So the 2 Quinn cars, 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Riders just a little bit further back down the field. They're still side by side behind though. McLaren going around the outside as they went side by side 3-6, now starting to get themselves in order as they plunge down the hill for the first time.
It's been a great opening lap for Aaron Cameron. You can see the experience there. He's a lot of confidence to really push the car early, especially through the high-speed corners. And it's actually perfect for him because he can now control the race, look after his wet tyre. If it does look like it's going to dry out.
And the beauty of, Nick, the way the pit stop sequence works here, so if you win, you get 15 seconds added to your pit stop time. If you're second, you get 10. Wow, Purdy's thing was oversteering in a straight line there, and the run up the back straight towards turn 13, it was wiggling around under pressure from the Mustang. Blake Dowdle, that is in the blue car, chasing him up the hill, but he holds on. They won the opening race in the first round of the championship at Phillip Island, the multi-spares car. They didn't win the second, so they've got no additional pit stop time to worry about either in car number 27.
That's a very, very handy situation to be in, because obviously up against your competitors who may or may not have the pit stop time, but it doesn't get much better than that in this form of racing. And Cam McLeod going mirror to mirror with a fellow, with Tony D'Alberto, is it?
Yeah, it is.
I'll be loving that, be laughing.
13th and 14th, so D'Alberto's dropped 6 spots on the opening lap. McLeod's dropped 1. So they're down in 13th and 14th position. Aaron Cameron is the race leader, 2.2 seconds. The end of the opening lap of the race over Caleb Patterson. McCutcheon, the young Kiwi, car 101 up to 3rd. He's got Evenet behind. Pressure between the 2 Supras. Then it's Blake Dowdle is next. Blake Tracy is 7th. Sam Paley, the American, getting his first taste of some wet weather racing Aussie style, up to 8th place. Jensen Shearer in 9th, and Ryland Gray rounding out the top 10. William Exton in the McLaren down 3 spots on the opening lap as well. Just car 21's getting investigated for a race start procedure, and that is D'Alberto. He's dropped 6 spots, so
he's done something very wrong.
Yeah, that would be rubbing salt into the wound, wouldn't it? If you get a penalty for a drama at the start line and you've thrown away 6 spots on the opening lap of the race. Big movers is Patterson up 4 spots to 2nd place, Dowdle up 4 spots to 6th, and Ryland Gray up 4 spots to get inside the top 10 as well. Big moment, Patterson sliding the car on the exit of turn 10, the bottom of the hill.
There's a lot happening in the midfield. The totem is moving around a lot, and Campbell's lost a few more spots in this, so maybe they're opting for a lower tyre pressure or something to come home strong in the back end of his stint, but starting to fire up here for P3, P4. Lockie, we know he's fast in these conditions, and he'll be seeing Aaron Cameron skip away and be getting a little bit impatient here.
And Blake Purdy just keeping a watching brief on them, just in behind them, 3 Ford Mustangs. And then the Porsche of Shearer in car number 46, so 2 Porsches inside the top 10, 4 Ford Mustangs, an Audi and 3 Supras. with a couple of McLarens in the form of Exton and Suter just on the outside of the top 10 looking in. And now we're bathed in bright sunshine because today that's just what's happening. So another lap done. Pit stop windows opens halfway through the race. And they'll get 10 minutes in pit lane to serve their mandatory pit stop. It's 102 seconds from pit entry to pit exit, plus any penalty time that you need to serve. And just on the Tony D'Alberto situation, he was under investigation. Well, he's got the drive-through penalty now for his role in whatever the race start procedure issue was. He's getting penalised for it and getting penalised heavily. So more than 30 seconds will disappear. It's a long pit lane here at the bend. So that's no good for D'Alberto, who had already dropped a heap of spots. And you've spotted as well that there might be an issue for the Cam McLeod car as well, Nick.
Yeah, he has a right rear puncher by the looks. I think we're going to get a bit of a replay here and see what's happened to Cam McLeod.
So that's the
damage to D'Alberto's.
That's the D'Alberto car. Well, I'm putting one and one together here and thinking there might have been some contact between the two of them.
Tony's come to the lane. That's not to serve his drive-through. That's
to fix the damage.
Fix the damage. And then the McLeod car also came down the lane with the right rear tyre well off the rim. So they've obviously had a bit of a clash on track.
Yeah, so right front of one Mustang and the rear of the other.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Interesting. We'll leave the speculation there for now, but
Purdy is on the move.
Yeah, he is. He's up a spot, so he's got past Lockie Evanet. The Audi hooked up, and Tony isn't just in pit lane. He is out of the car, and it looks like that race may well be open for that team. Around the outside, McCutcheon having a look at Patterson here. Needs to be careful because McCutcheon's co-driver is Tony Quinn, who's the dad of the guy who'll jump into the green and yellow Porsche later, and they go side by side over the hill. Purdy wants to get into this as well. McCutcheon's car was sliding around. Purdy goes a long way around the outside, a little bit too deep, but he's going to get the spot anyway. The Audi continues to charge forward.
What a move. I love that he commits to the outside, goes super deep, and just uses that momentum to get the track position and eventually get the traction to stay or to gain the spot. But he's got the eyes on here. He's going to have a dip at turn one here. He's got the toe.
And all this has allowed Aaron Cameron to disappear up the road, almost 6 seconds now, the race leader. Here goes the Audi, just gets the nose out and has a look. Oh, big moment, big moment. The Mustang sent it down, or came from a long, long way back. And there might have been a little bit of contact there with Lockie Evanet, who's gone a long way up the escape road. And does he have damage as a result? I was worried that he was going to get that thing stopped at all. Meanwhile, Purdy now fighting for second place. He's got a really good run out of 4. That was turn 5. This is the braking zone for turn 6. It's a great overtaking opportunity here at the bend, and he slices down the inside of Patterson. The former Aussie racing car driver has no option but to surrender that spot. And the Audi continues its march forward.
What a shame they didn't get to come to Phillip Island and show us this speed, because this car is fast, and we're not lacking confidence with our passing and their ability in the wet, so it's really good to see.
That's the Warren Mining car in pit lane. So Sam Paley started this car and was running nicely just inside the top 10, but they're sitting in pit lane well before the mandatory pit stop window is open, and that is a look of concern on the crew looking after that car. So that's another key contender sitting in pit lane. A hairy moment up there at turn 1. It is a massive stop, and they're well over 240 k's an hour, a GT4 car, and around the outside goes McCutcheon. Patterson struggling a little bit here in the Porsche. The Supra goes through.
The outside move's the move to make at the moment.
Really?
But the Audi here, Purdy, has lit up the timing board. The moment he got through, he's gotten 4.5 tenths faster than Aaron Cameron in the middle sector alone on this lap. So he is on the charge, which is great for us. Hopefully he can close the gap up to Aaron Cameron. And the battle for P4 and 5 it's on. This Porsche looks like it is struggling a little bit in these conditions. Not sure what they've done with the setup, because it looked very speedy qualifying, so they might have put a wet setup in, and it's actually not as good as what they had this morning with a relatively dry car. So we'll have to watch and see how that progresses over the stint, but I've got a feeling people would have run quite a low tyre pressure here, expecting it to dry. But like we said earlier, without the wind, the water's going up in the air and straight back down the track.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the 19-year-old Kiwi Blake Dowdle, who's running in 5th position now in the Ford Mustang. New Zealand Formula Ford guru, big win rate over there in 2025. And he's come across the Tasman this year to strut his stuff and is doing good things. Second of the Ford Mustangs on the road at the moment and involved in that pretty heady battle.
Aaron Cameron's having a good opening stint, keeping it nice and neat and not taking much risk. But I think when he gets the memo that there is a very, very fast Audi closing down at a decent rate of knots, we'll see him get on with it again.
Yeah, and already pulling a couple of tenths out this lap with the purple first sector. There's some track evolution happening now that there's bright sunshine here at the bend. So Patterson continues to hold on. So we saw now 2 laps ago what happened up at turn 1, and it was pretty hairy. Keep an eye on the blue Ford Mustang. It's the 5th car in the queue here, and it comes from a long way back and slices through, and there's a little bit of contact there with Lockie Evanet as he was turning into the corner.
That is great spatial awareness by Lockie, and also great job to kind of pick the gap, and the contact was so minor, but sometimes you find if you have steering lock in, it might have broken a tyre rod or power steering because it spikes the pressure through the system. So that's massively unfortunate, but does that mean he can brake way later at turn 1? Well, what he's been doing?
Yeah, well, somehow he got it stopped. And Evanet has gone to pit lane. Rusty?
When it came down the lane, Krails, he has got some steering damage to it. So the front left tyre was pointing in the direction of the pit wall. It wanted to push the car to the right, so he's edged it down the lane. Some damage there. Now, when you look down towards pit exit, there is the grey clouds in the distance. There's a lot of spray from the cars. When you look toward pit entry, where the go-kart track is, there are those patches of blue sky that you talked about. I've just had a word with Glenn Seaton and said, what do you think is going to happen here from a pit stop perspective, the remainder of the race perspective? He cannot see it going to a dry tyre before the end of this one based on what we've currently got.
It's unlike pit lane reporters either to hope for dry conditions too, because they're out in the elements. Thanks, Rusty. We saw Evanet's car had gone into pit lane, so confirmation of broken steering after that contact, which was a shame after such a great job in qualifying, but just avoided a potentially larger moment there with that issue up there at turn 1. It was hairy stuff. Charlie.
He just caught up with Jack Wallace. The Sam Haley car did come into pit lane, and we were wondering why, and the team are too. There is bent steering, but it seems to be a mystery. They're not quite sure what's caused it.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of that going around in this race. Some mysteries as to why cars are going into pit lane. It's hearing from Motorsport Australia Race Control. Chris White is getting a 15-second penalty for a driving infringement, so that's another little mystery we'll try and get to the bottom of as to where that happened. So the GWR Australia team will have to add 15 seconds to their pit stop. Fortunately, you can serve that in the mandatory stop. Otherwise, it will get added to the race time post-race.
I'm excited for this. The top 2, correct me if I'm wrong, but car in second has no pit stop.
Correct.
Penalty or, success time added. So that car is still coming at Aaron Cameron at quite a rapid rate. He's going to have it to under 5 seconds by the end of this lap, and it was at 6.8 when he got to second, so they're going to keep coming. Aaron Cameron's, I think he's got the message saying we might want to get on with it, but again, we're under 5 seconds. Blake can see him. So I think this is going to be a great race to the finish, these two.
Yeah, in fact, the first car in the leaderboard, irrespective of class, to have extra pit stop times, Ryder Quinn, who in Silver Am, he's 3rd in Silver Am at the moment. They finished 3rd in Silver Am in race 2 at Phillip Island, so they've got an extra 5 seconds to serve in their pit stop. But none of the silver class cars, which are the white background numbers on your timing totem, the black background are the Silver Am class cars. So 101, 28, they don't have any extra pit stop time to serve. And then 95, 46, none of them have got extra pit stop time. So it's all basically a flat-out race. They all serve the same time in pit lane for the mandatory stop. and then they'll battle on. And speaking of battling on, Aaron Cameron has responded as well to the charge of Blake Purdy and has just sort of flexed his muscle just a little bit to show that his Mustang's still got plenty of speed, and the margins are stabilised at 5.1 seconds.
The top 3 cars are in a league of their own pace-wise. This is going to be disaster.
No! Massive moment. Bottom of the hill. Jensen Shearer's been involved in that. And Blake Dowdle, the young Kiwi we were just talking about, has had a huge moment.
Just dropped a wheel on the last of the triple rights. Did all he could to save it, and unfortunately, innocent bystander has been collected.
And Shearer stranded there at the moment, trying to get that car refired. Race control will have a look at that. Car 21's been given 15 seconds for a dangerous re-entry, which is an interesting one. Meanwhile, battle pack going on behind the Wade Motorsport replay. Let's have a look at this. Watch the blue Mustang. And that's the second time this race the blue Mustang's been in a moment that could have been enormous, but somehow has managed to get away with it.
And far out. You zig or you zag. And honestly, from the driver's seat, there's no way you could have predicted which way that Mustang was going. So it's amazingly unfortunate. It looks like he is stranded there, and hopefully can refire and get back into this race. But that is one thing with these cars, with the ABS, when you have a huge moment like that, or you're having a spin, you push the pedal so hard that the ABS kind of has like a hard pedal, and it feels like it's not stopping at all, and you lose a little bit of control. And that's all that's happened there. The cars just continued the slide all the way across the track. So unfortunate, but like you said, we were millimetres from 2 very damaged cars.
So Jensen Shearer, he sells insurance as a full-time job, so he might take a policy out after getting away with that one. No claim bonus would be pretty good. The safety car has been called as a result, so we will go under the control of the BMW M safety car. So Aaron Cameron waves goodbye to 5.9 seconds worth of 4.9 seconds worth of leading margin, and that brings the Audi, which has gone toe-to-toe with Ford in the lead of the race for the last 3 or 4 laps. It's got the same speed at the moment.
This is what we want.
Yep, it's going to line them up, and it will be a battle towards the mandatory pit stop.
The top 3 cars are the speedy ones.
Rusty.
It's come down to Garth Walden Racing, because you flagged or questioned, Mark Krause, that issue for Chris White, and that was being investigated by Motorsport Australia Race Control. Now, the team down here tell me the allegation is that he made contact with the McLeod Mustang, so that's what it relates to.
That would be the little bit more of the picture for us.
Superintendent Detective Rust getting
like
to the bottom of some of our stories we've been trying to unpick for you.
Mover and shaker. Jay Murray. Was he 23rd off the grid?
Yes, so 11th.
That's a serious first opening part of this race, and that shot was great. Looking at the pit exit, then it was actually drying quite fast.
The question is it drying enough to put a slick
We need
tire
someone to put a slick on, don't we?
Well, you'd love to roll the dice. I'd love someone to roll the dice. So at the end,
anyone listening?
They're on the tyre that they want to be on. Everyone getting ready for mandatory pit stop time. We are behind the safety car. They may, and in the past, have delayed the opening of the pit window for that.
I wish the McLeod car was obviously still out there for him to be in contention, but if anyone's going to roll a slick early, it would be them. It's Cam McLeod, like he showed us in qualifying, and everyone hunting for water, even though we're under safety car, just to try and cool the wet tyre down. As to 35 into the lane, pulls up on the box perfectly, and the crew get to work with a driver change. They're able to bleed the tyre pressures down, so they'll have the ideal hot tyre pressure target. So we can, for this sake, we can say 25 psi is the maximum the team wants to go in tyre pressure during the stint, so they can actually now, in the pit stop, bleed that down to the target hot pressure, which gives a bit of longevity back, gives the drivers a little bit more grip if they've got over pressure. One thing they can't do in the stop is add air to that tyre, so all the teams will be trying to bleed a little bit out of them to make sure they've got a bit more longevity.
So the Raptor recovery car is underway, and the great Brad Morass, who literally does this basically full-time at every major national level race team, jumps out of the car and he's on the scene.
If he doesn't consider this full-time, I don't know what it is. He's busy.
He's massively busy. So he's on the job to make sure that that car is recovered safely and back to pit lane. So the Renan team, headed up by local legend Mark Buick.
There must be some damage that we can't see. Maybe it clipped the rear as well and has broken a toe link or something similar, because it looked like he should be able to drive back.
Well, like the Evernet thing, it was light contact with the front corner. Yep. So I wonder if, like Evernet, it's punched the front left corner steering out of that car, or like you said, broken the power steering potentially.
I love it. You're under safety car and everyone's hunting for the water. It shows it must be drier than we can maybe see in certain parts of the track, or the drivers were feeling that the tyres become a bit mushy underneath them, which is quite fast to happen with a really good wet tyre. They're normally a little bit soft and it doesn't take much to overheat them, and then you feel the tread block, we call it walking around, like if the car front to rear feels like it's sliding all the time and not predictable, and that's what happens when the wet gets really hot. So you see the experienced drivers and all the teams be telling them, cool these wets down and you'll get more life out of them. And I don't know if anyone can remember this, it's probably going back a little bit when SVG drove down the front straight at Sydney Motorsport Park with two wheels in the grass at 260k an hour. That was to cool the wets down.
That was an extreme...
That was extreme, yes.
Extreme way of...
It is SVG, though. Well, he does do things...
Extreme, spoilers. Third in the truck race at Watkins Glen, by the way.
Big comeback as well.
Absolutely. Watch the O'Reilly Series and the Cup race on Fox and KO here in Oz this weekend as well at Watkins Glen. So they're bound to win one of the three, surely. So that is the battle for the race lead. Confirmation from... Motorsport Australia race control, so there was no delay to the mandatory pit stop window opening, so the opportunity is there to serve your stop under yellow, and that would be the wise thing to do.
Yep. I like what...
late call.
I like what Aaron Cameron's doing here. Why don't we let them pit and see what tyre they put on? So he's going to have the advantage here of two things. He knows what his opposition are doing, and secondly, he's going to have a very clear pit lane, because if you look to your right, there is half or over half the field in the lane trying to service their cars, and that's when mistakes can happen, and drivers miss pit bays and stuff like that. So I think that's a really good call to stay out, have a calm pit lane, and figure out what tyre you want on it.
Method Motorsport with the towel, just making sure that...
I always laugh, because as a driver, we just walk to the car.
Yes, to step off the towel. Yeah.
You should have spread it out like it's at home, the shower mat.
Roll the red carpet out, I think. So
the idea's there. We try.
So Jet Murray will jump behind the wheel of the Method Motorsport McLaren to take over for the second half of the race from Tommy Heyman. It's been a strangely quiet day, at least in the terms of this race for that crew, buried outside the top 15. Double championship winning squad. Summer Rintoul will take over the JGI car. They've swapped from Mercedes AMG into McLaren this year. Chris Stubbs.
Richard Crail, I feel like one of the clowns in Sideshow Alley, head going left and right in the middle of pit lane, keeping an eye on the tyre situation. Half the field at the moment, not a single set of dries going on. Everyone's sticking with what they've got. I haven't seen a single tyre be replaced. So
have you checked the garage right at pit entry?
So
go all the way down there?
I'm going to absolutely verify what you've just said, Chris, because I'm at the other end. I'm at the pit entry end, and every team that I've seen so far is kind of craning their neck to see what their rivals are doing, but no one else has jumped yet and moved to slicks.
You'd have to do it. Someone has to do it. It's drying fast.
I mean, if you're at the back of the field, you've got absolutely nothing to lose, do you? It's easy for us to say up here in the comp box.
I'll say it all day up here,
So, Method Motorsport, Jared Hughes has jumped out of his car. Tommy Heyman, double silver class champion, has jumped out of the McLaren.
Can you explain this to me? So these guys here behind the safety car, the rest of the field is pitted. They can catch to the back of the safety car. So now that Aaron hasn't pitted,
yes,
is he going to go long now? Or is he going to pit and lose track position?
Well, you've only got a certain amount of time to do the pit stop anyway, so you have to stop. So they're going to chuck away track position, essentially.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't quite pick up as I saw him obviously stay out. I still like the clean pit lane and less mayhem, but he might actually now put his co-driver in a bit of a...
It's going to cost them quite a significant amount of time. So the car that looks like it's going to be in a good position here, ironically, could be Cam McLeod, who is showing as the first car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, well, they've been in pit lane early, remember, to replace that tyre.
Oh, yeah, he didn't do a CPS.
So they haven't completed their CPS. So George Miedeke actually is going to be in a really good position and could be the net race leader after all of this.
We love George.
And he's a great human being. So the multi-spares team will have to get Aaron Cameron in now, surely, for a mandatory stop. So Cameron Patterson, Exton, Ryder Quinn, Lockie Manif, Chris White, who's got an extra 15-second penalty. But
they're thrown away a lot because the
Blake Purdy's charging round will be Job Stewart now behind
he's on the back of the train.
So they're going to be third.
Maybe they know something we don't. Oh, do you stay out? No, it's not. I was going to say, do you pit then when everyone goes to slicks? But obviously not.
Well, maybe they were waiting for the time. But maybe the opportunity now, and we could have, should have, would here, but you take the gamble now.
I would take the gamble
now. One of these cars, Rusty.
I'm just watching this next group of cars come in and seeing if anyone will make that decision. I'm at Team Suter Motorsport, so Jack Johnson about to jump in, Will Exton getting out. Zach's actually here. What are the conditions like at the moment, and would you risk going for a slick at the back end of this race?
For the other teams listening, definitely go for a slick. For everyone at home, don't go for a slick. No, it's awful. Down into turn one, it's still very wet. Over the back of the circuit, very wet. And even if it dried up a little bit, it's still super greasy. So a warm wet is probably the same as better at the moment.
Message to Glenn Newman before he goes out. What was the kind of... I mean, he did a great job this morning, didn't he?
Yeah, pole man this morning. First pole in Australia for Glenn, which is amazing. But I'd actually get a chance to talk to him. So he knows what he's doing. He's to get in the car and go for it. He's a mad driver, and he'll get after it.
You're enjoying this big team expansion, mate? Do you actually get to enjoy the racing, or you're a little bit stressed about what's happening with customers here?
No, look, I've got some fantastic people in the team, great people on board this year, an amazing crew of people as well running all the cars. So I'm loving it. It's amazing. 4 cars, and potentially more on the horizon. So yeah, really excited.
All right, you're about to get busier. Great stuff, mate. Super work there. Let's go to Charlie.
It's great to see you smiling, Tom Heyman. It's not quite where we're used to seeing you guys. Jet's just jumped in the car.
Yeah, obviously we're probably just struggling a little bit with this new tyre, and it's definitely challenged us this year so far, so it's been good to try and tackle that, but it doesn't help when our ball's on turn 1 on lap 1, so yeah, it's completely my fault. Jet's in the car now, he'll give it a good crack and see where we end up.
We're seeing a lot of people coming into the lane, but they're deciding to stay on wets. Is that the right decision in your opinion?
Yeah, well, it's definitely wet out there. Everyone's making mistakes left, right and centre, so I think it's definitely the right call, and I don't see it going slicks anytime soon, that's for sure.
Thanks, Tommy. Stubbsy?
Well, I just watched the stop. Aaron Cameron, of course, who had the race lead when the safety car came out. He's just jumped out of the car. Aaron, you guys have elected to stay on the wets, as has everyone else. How did you find it out there?
Wet. Yeah, it's wet. And then I think on the safety car there, the last 2-3 turns are getting quite dry, but that middle sector into that fast triple right's still wet, so I wouldn't want to run slicks on there, and I wouldn't want to put Lockie in that situation. So, yeah, I don't think we've won this race now. I think we've somehow managed to... Yes, too many rules in this category, so we've missed some rules, and yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, can you explain to us the decision? Half the field kind of came in, you stayed out for a lap, and it seemed we thought you were losing track position.
Yeah, that's what I think it looks like. I think at PI you couldn't pit under safety car or something, and then maybe they sent out an amendment or something. I don't really know yet, but yeah, when I saw the rest of them peel in and we stayed out, yeah, that sucks. So anyway, this is just, it's racing. It's so much fun.
And the timing of the safety car, I mean, you've done such a great stint yourself. You had a 5-second lead. I mean, it was trucking along nicely.
Yeah, same as PI. We just got out of the lead, just cruising along. Happy days, but yeah, safety cars. And look, they're tricky conditions. Like, you go slightly offline onto the bit wetter surface and bang, you're around. So, yeah, anyway, let's see where we end up and go again tomorrow.
Well, you got the mo, you're looking good, you're winning the fashion stakes. That's something, mate.
Exactly. 2 tenths there.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, cheers.
He should... I'm not going to slam him, but as a racing car driver, you need to know the rules. So you get pinged for something at Phillip Island, read up on it. Like, you can't just say there's too many rules. So Aaron Cameron should do some homework, I think, between here and the next round and make sure, or tomorrow, and make sure he knows exactly where he needs to pit, and that team knows as well. So, yeah, that's it. They've missed that.
And the rule is it's discretionary from race management as to whether they postpone the opening, and it's about equality for the race and making sure everyone has the opportunity to complete a mandatory pit stop under a yellow if there is a yellow, or they will pause it and allow everyone to do it under green flag conditions. So it was pretty clear. There's a group messaging service that goes around to all the teams that the mandatory pit stop window would remain open for this race. So there was clarification there. So those that have understood the rule book have ticked that box. Those that haven't have been punished for it. And the result is that car now is, with Lockie Dalton behind the wheels, 21st.
Yep.
Having led the race, and he is going to have to blaze when we go back to racing to pass some cars, and that will be at the end of this lap. So the BMW M safety car, which is the only car not hunting for water off the racing line at the moment, will be good. And then finally, Caleb Patterson peels into pit lane.
This is a whole different story again. They've just stayed out.
Yeah.
Maybe they were trying to see if it would dry. We'll give them that, I reckon.
And there were a bunch of cars penalised after the Sunday race at Phillip Island as well. There were more than 10 cars with post-race penalties for a rule breach, a pit stop rule regulation breach. And that's just a little 1% that the teams need to get right. And if you get wrong, you get wrapped over the knuckles for it, and it can cost you a result. So there was a bit of confusion around where that all played out. Those that read the rule book correctly got it right and didn't get penalised.
It's not easy, because there's definitely the way you interpret it, but anyway, that's that done. That's there. We'll now get to watch the charge, which I'm excited for Lockie Dalton. He will not think it's exciting, but we certainly will, because that is a very, very fast car with a fast racing car driver behind the wheel.
Yeah, and what about the swings and roundabouts for George Miedeke and Blake Tracy, his new young co-driver for this year? What a step up that is. They now lead this race with Glenn Walker, the AM class leader, in second outright, just in behind. So the Gomersall Motorsport Mustang trailing the Miedeke Motorsport Mustang 1 and 2, Ford Mustangs at the front of the field. So Job Stewart in third. He's going to be one to have an eye on, given the pace of that car earlier in this race.
They're going to be very hard to stop Job now, but it's great to see the Miedeke, the way they go about their racing. They're very thorough, and this is 2 rounds in a row they've, strategized their way back to the front after maybe qualifying a little bit out of position. So I'm not sure how he holds on Job, because he's going to be coming through fast, but the beauty he has now, there is a dry line forming, so the only way Stewart gets him is going offline onto the water. And we've heard from Aaron Cameron that going offline is quite dicey. So it'll be interesting to see if George can just try and skip away on this restart, because he's definitely going to have a very fast Job Stewart coming at him. And they all now start to form up and prepare for the restart. A BMW safety car is scampering away.
Job from Mount Gambier, like Kai Allen. It's hard to believe that 2 of the 24 drivers in supercars are from Mount Gambier, the regional city in the southeast of South Australia. Having said that, an incredible motorsport culture down there. Gambier Speedway is one of the great little dirt tracks in Australia. Mac Park, the two-wheel motorcycle specific circuit, is down there as well. They've got a great off-road track too. So there's a great car culture down there. They're producing some great race car drivers. Tony Quinn hanging a long way back from Stewart here, needs to close that margin a little bit, and Glenn Nurwin trying to give him the hurry up in the tough lift car. Jay Murray, 6th outright, I should say, and 3rd of the silver class cars. So that has been a huge opening stint from back in the 20s at the start of this race. We're back to green with 16 minutes and 40 seconds to go. And George Miedeke will have Job Stewart flying at him. Stewart's got to get past Walker first.
And they're 3 wide here, the 6th and 7th.
Down the inside, the 67 car is Taylor Bryant having to look up the inside. Couldn't quite get it done. Nurwin was the meat and the sandwich there. Kent Quinn having just stopped just right at the back of the field. So he has gone from 2nd to 25th place. And look at Miedeke driving off in the distance. Clear racetrack. And Job Stewart has now cleared Walker in that battle for second and third, and Walker just gets it turned in at 5. Down the inside goes Murray. How about this? The Slattery Bimmer. The young man from just outside of Geelong. He and his dad living the dream this year. 2-car BMW team in Monochrome GT4, and the teenager is going forward.
Madiki, he's... I don't think he's going to succumb to the pressure of having a Job Stewart coming in, because he has raced against everyone on the supercar grid. He was in Super 2 against myself, Chaz, McLaughlin. Like, he's seen it all. He's very smart, so he'll make it hard. But the best thing with him, he races very, very fair. So we'll see a big battle. But Jay Murray, this thing is absolutely hooked up.
Oh, looking up the inside of Walker, backs out.
That was a very good decision to get out of that one.
Good life choice, young Jay. Nice work. It's for an outright place, but not for the class. And that's the important thing in Monochrome GT4. It's the race within a race. So Walker as well can be a bit considered about this, because his nearest rival for a trophy in this race is Chris Lillis in the Porsche, who's in 9th place outright. Here goes Murray down the inside. The Slattery car gets it done. He's third on the road now.
The confidence on the brake pedal for Jay Murray, like, that's seriously impressive. And into P3 outright, P3 in his class. Yeah. And who knows what's going to happen at the front.
Meanwhile, further back in the field, the multi-spares car is on the comeback trail. How far forward can car number 27 go? Well, the answer is he's into the 20s. Well, actually, he's into the teens, so he's working his way forward. Can he get to the back end of the top 10? Certainly, if this battle continues, he might get there. Dean Koutsamides down the inside of Glenn Irwin. The Equity 1 Supra goes forward. Oh, look at this. They're almost 5 wide at one point there.
As you do.
Kent Quinn slicing past the Randall Racing BMWs. Gets 2 for 1. Brian Sorensen is in the mix there as well, in the Method McLaren. Stunning livery on that car. The Artura, the AM class contender. By the way, this is a battle for 16, 17, 18, somewhere down about there. Yep. So Sorensen is 17th at the moment.
Can't say they're not having a dip. It's just absolutely on.
They are having a proper crack. Battles all the way through the field in Monochrome GT4. Medicki by 1.3 seconds out in front. Nothing's changed there. Murray actually quicker than Job Stewart in the first sector. So the BMW is going in a hurry. Tony Quinn still holds on to 5th place in the lead, the Silver AM class.
Whatever they've given Jay Murray for lunch, do it again.
Absolutely. Copy and paste. Rusty?
I'm watching both Tom Heyman on the pit wall and the Method Motorsport crew here going to work on the 25, and unfortunately Tom looks a little flat. The attention is all around the steering, the front wheels of this car. They were getting Murray to work through a couple of things a moment ago, so it's a shame for these guys. Good Phillip Island for them, not so good here at the opening race of Monochrome GT4 at the Bend.
For the race lead, down the inside, Job Stewart fighting with George Medicki, who'll have one eye on the championship. Second in points coming into the weekend. And there's a new leader at Tailem Bend, and it's Job Stewart, and the Audi hits the front.
And he actually had to get that move done very quickly, because, like we said, Jay Murray is the fastest on the track and coming at a rapid rate. So, like we said earlier, George Medicki, the ultimate professional. He knows when he's maybe not the fastest, but he senses a very good result here. And Job now will, you would expect, to disappear up the road.
They've got Team BRM supporting this car as well, so they're running the 3 Audis in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, and helping out the Purdy family with the Nippies car. Nippies have been a great supporter of Blake across his very young career. He started in sports car racing in Australian Prototype Series here with Jam Motorsport at the Bend, and then jumped into the S5000 open wheeler as a very young teenager and made quite an impact in that category in its brief time in our sport, and he stepped up into GT4 and has been very impressive. And then partnering up with Job Stewart this year, who's getting more seat time alongside his rookie season in the Supercars Championship with Erebus. So ironically, Job Stewart is racing his supercars teammate's brother in this field, because Jet Murray, who's Cooper Murray's little brother, is in this field.
Where are we going with this?
There's 2 degrees of separation in motorsport everywhere. Lockie Dalton is flying. He's 10th. And he is, at the moment, comfortably quicker than anybody else within the 4.9k boundaries of Tailem Bend, the Bend Motorsport Park. So there's still 10 minutes to go. He could drag a result out here yet. He's only 3 seconds behind 6th place.
It's seriously fast, and if I was Stewart, Badecki and Murray, I'd actually nearly be trying to save this wet tyre. There's still 10 minutes to go. We've got 4 or 5 laps of this circuit to still battle it out, and it will absolutely eat these wets up if it does continue to dry out as fast as it is. So you now need to be thinking the long game. How do I get to the finish line with some rubber left? What Lockie Dalton's doing, it doesn't matter. He's just trying to drive through the field like a man possessed, but the front 3 need to be thinking a little bit of long game here.
2:08.11 for Stewart, the leader. 9:1 for Miedeke, so a second quicker last time by, and an 8:7 for Murray, who is closing on George Miedeke. Greg Rust.
In our TV garage, watching the return monitor is Blake Tracy. You've been pacing, mate, haven't you?
Oh, it's more nervous outside the car than it is inside the car. But no, George, I know he's probably one of the, in this whole field, out of all 50 drivers, he's really in the top 5, in my opinion. Like us, the credit goes to us young blokes, but really, he's a very fast driver.
Did you know that the threat of the Audi was going to be so significant here? Did you kind of anticipate that?
We kind of did. We obviously, they unfortunately missed out last round for round 1, and I think they're obviously 2 amazing drivers in the car as well, but the whole BOP, it's a lot harder because there's a lot less Audis, but look, they're doing an awesome job, so we're just gaining championship points and staying clean.
All right, final one for you. Can you hold on to a podium here? The boys upstairs in commentary talking about kind of managing from this point on.
Look, to be honest, the rears are pretty did look after them the best, but look, even if we do finish 3rd, there's still championship points, but I reckon George, you want to put up a fight.
Yeah, well played. I think you stopped yourself from a bad word there too. Well done, mate. Good job.
That was great. Yeah, brilliant. So much character among this crop of young drivers at the moment. I love it. They're expressing themselves as well. And yeah, George is having a fight too, because he's just set personal best first sector. So he's managing that gap to Jay Murray in 3rd place. The year 12 student is chasing down the hugely experienced George Miedeke. Port Macquarie, the coast, and hugely successful motoring franchises that they've got there with the Miedeke Motor Group. His legendary father, Andrew, is still heavily involved. Lockie Dalton continues to march his way forward. He's just passed Chris Lillis, so he's climbed up to 8th position now, gets in front of the AM-Class Porsche. Tony Quinn will be his next target, and then look, stacked up in front is Jake Camilleri and Taylor Bryant. So 5th position is certainly within the realms of possibility, and even Glenn Walker in 4th could be a target for the multi-spares Mustang. Or not, because there is a drive-through penalty coming the way of car number 27 for a mandatory pit stop breach.
They did push the car backwards in pit lane, I saw. Is that allowed?
It might be that, or it might be time. It will be one or the other.
Yep.
So, and car 9 is going to get one too, and that's Daniel Frugas, who's having a shocking day. And into pit lane comes Kent Quinn after a strong start from Caleb Patterson. So the charge of the multi-spares brigade will probably end at 8th position, because they will have to serve a drive-through. If they don't serve it, they will need to get, well, they'll get a penalty post-race. It'll be a time penalty equivalent to a drive-through, and probably a bigger rap on the knuckles for not serving it mid-race. So 7 minutes to go. They're going to have to go to pit lane again, and it's going to cost them a stack of time.
That'd be an interesting radio call.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to make that call. Brett Peters looking after the multi-spares team. Jack Johnson. Yeah, I was just going to say, just taking note of the timing screen, because he just punched out the purple sector. I wonder if he's up and about, because young Jack, whose dad, as Rusty touched on earlier, is the Western Bulldogs legend, Brad Johnson, one of the greatest of all time in Aussie rules football. And the Doggies had a win, 2 points last night over the Power down at Adelaide Oval.
He's taken that through to the race.
So I think he's channeling a bit of that, and he is absolutely flying.
And you know what? His dad will be so proud. And then when Nathan Murray looks back at Jay Murray's race, they're great friends. in Geelong, and the boys hang out and they're karting together. So for them to look at this tow monitor right now and think how far their two sons have come is really cool. And yeah, Johnson's just going on with it here, so he's flying.
These are the leading trio. They're still very, very evenly matched and just trading sector times at the moment. And Jay Murray, who is in year 12 at Geelong College, is chasing down Job Stewart, who races supercars full-time, and George Miedeke, who's been there, done it and won most of it. What a great story this is. They've put together a really good program there, the Murrays. It's been run by McElroy Racing. Eric Pender, the hugely experienced engineers running the cars. Johnny Evans, father of Jackson's, heavily involved in that program too with his good buddy Andy McElroy. So it's a really strong team. This is an opportunity for Jay to showcase what he's got. And boy, isn't he doing that. Further back, Dalton and Camilleri, but car 27's got that drive-through penalty hanging on its shoulders at the moment. AM-class leader is still Glenn Walker, who's not that far off in terms of pace from the outright leaders, the silver class cars, and still holding on to 4th place, and has been pulling away from Jake Camilleri in the last couple of laps. Jake's a silver class contender. So Walker's doing a great job, leads the AM class. Tony Quinn still leads the way in silver AM. He's 8th outright. And hello to everyone back in New Zealand. The team at Hampton Downs and Taupo and Highlands. I'm sure all the GT members there are cheering TQ on. Car 101.
Johnson's just cruised his way through this pack.
Oh, this is busy.
Yep.
Battle pack on. Johnson around the outside of Taylor Bryant, gives him the inside for the right-hander, and the McLaren ticks another one off.
He was 11th at that corner last lap.
7th now.
Yeah.
This is a great drive. This is, I think, I don't know if we expected this when Monochrome GT4 Australia became a thing, was the number of young drivers it would unearth.
Yes.
And give a platform and an opportunity to showcase what they can do. And that's what this category has done. It has done superbly. And for all Ryland Gray did in Super 2, what got a lot of the attention from the Ford Motor Company to get him in that seat, or help get him in the seat at Dick Johnson Racing, was what he did alongside George Miedeke in the factory-supported Ford in Monochrome GT4 Australia. It was a chunk of it.
100%. I think these categories, you have GT4, Mustang Cup, they're places where you nearly shouldn't have a supercar driver on the grid. I know they're great yardstick and stuff like that, but when you have people like George Miedeke, Lockie Dalton, those guys are exceptional drivers. But this just shows that we have a lot of talent in Australia coming through. We don't put the supercar guys in GT3s and let the young guys just fight it out.
Well, but as the pathway up, it's such a good opportunity, and this is the drive-through penalty. Speaking of supercar drivers, Aaron Cameron with the new Mo will be watching forlornly as the multi-spares car tumbles down the leaderboard.
Look at this
There he is. We need to have an opinion on this. Yay or nay on the Mo?
Well,
are you in favour or not? I recall you rocking a dirty Mo.
I have rocked a Mo. I had one only recently. I had a full load beard.
Nothing wrong with the beard.
I shaved it off. Then I was going to keep the Mo, and I didn't. I don't mind it, and I'm going to say he's up to something with it. And the media content creator at the Blanchard Racing team is quite funny at the moment. So I think they're up to something.
They were best on ground for a while, especially in New Zealand.
It was at the rowing that little boat around.
Yeah, and they eventually got down to Christchurch. So I think, well, if he says it's worth 0.2 of a second,
we'll give it to him.
We'll give it to him. Worth 0.2 of a second has been this performance from Job Stewart and Blake Purdy out in front. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. 2.2 seconds they've got now over George Miedeke, who, as his co-driver predicted, has fought and has actually pulled that margin out over the BMW of Jay Murray, who I wonder worked those wets pretty hard to get himself up to where he was. I wonder if he just took the best out of them getting there in the first place.
He had to capitalise when he had the grip, and it's exactly what he's done. But the other car I've just noticed, who's actually had to come through the lane twice, the Mason Harvey car with McLeod. What a comeback. Yeah. They were driving down the pit lane to put a right rear tyre on lap 2. So that's a huge comeback to be inside the 10. So fair play there.
Yeah, up to 10th place, just in front of Dean Koutsoumides. The other thing to think about is the Silver AM battle is Dean Koutsoumides is catching Tony Quinn. They're 9th and 11th overall.
There's a second between them.
Yeah, and there's not much between them. So Dean, who's quite experienced race car driver, a lot of time in GT cars, a lot of endurance racing, Bathurst 12 hours, some international race starts. He's got Nick McBride sharing him. Nick's one of the successful Carrera Cup races of a generation with a huge amount of success in one-make Porsche racing in Australia. And at one point,
good guy.
Totally, absolute legend. And at one point was plying his trade internationally as an open wheel racer too. And his partner, Rach, just had their third child. He was on baby watch at Phillip Island, but got away with it there and lasted 41 weeks held on. So it was a nice convenient gap between race meetings for young Sydney McBride. Off the road is the Merc, so the 58 car.
So quite the moment by the looks.
Yeah, with 30 seconds to go, they might well manage this one under local yellows towards the end. So
what's cool?
Jerry Murphy in 25th position, sharing with his son in that Merc.
Someone put some slicks on the little Supra, who's currently not in contention, but lapping 6 seconds a lap faster.
So Daniel Frugas way down the order.
Has the junk on the road.
Yeah, it's messy, isn't it? Oh, and that's why.
Yep.
So Jerry Murphy, production car racer with a lot of experience, is parked onto the inside there. So it's well sighted. And he's going to be good for the remainder of this one with 8 seconds remaining. Should be 1 lap to go next time by. That's the battle for the lead. It's actually come back in favour of George Miedeke, so it's 1.6 seconds now between the two of them. Now the other position that's changed is Jake Camilleri's got in front of Walker for 4th and 5th place. Doesn't change the class battle, but Chris Lillis is catching Walker, and there's not much between them in the fight for the AM class win. And meanwhile, Dean Koutsimides has passed Tony Quinn to get the silver AM lead in 10th outright. So Koutsimides in front, and also Johnson up to 5th.
He's flying.
What a drive!
And there's actually a lot happened in this last lap. We had Jay Murray's dropped it past the car that had the dirt everywhere.
So he lost 4 seconds last lap.
Maintained position, thankfully. Johnson's flying, and we've got a car out there and slicks to 7 purples.
Well, if you haven't watched Monochrome GT4 Australia before, this happens all the time. It's raining, by the way, just FYI.
It's because I said slicks.
Yeah, just to throw another curveball at this one. They're on the final lap. This is Monochrome GT4 Australia. This happens almost every race. There are never not stories to talk about. It is great fun.
Imagine if it absolutely poured down and they're on like basically slicks that are meant to be wets right now.
You'll be hanging on, and if you're Job Stewart, you've got 7 corners to go to get a checkered flag in the Nippies Audi. They were on the sidelines at Phillip Island. They tested and the car broke a gearbox, and there were no spares. It's the only GT4 Audi in Australia. In fact, the only other one I know of in the Southern Hemisphere is over in New Zealand. It's owned by Grant Aitken and races in GT New Zealand. So there were no parts available, so they were frustrated. They had to sit and watch from the sidelines. But they've rolled back into their home racetrack, their first race of the year. This great combination with 2 fast young racing car drivers, Nippy sponsorship on board as well. And they have executed almost the perfect race. They raced their way to the front with 2 corners to go. Job Stewart is going to deliver a victory for the Audi in Monochrome GT4 Australia. He fends off George Miedeke, and Job Stewart will deliver victory for the Nippies Audi in race 1 of Monochrome GT4 here at the Bend. And that is a hugely entertaining car race and a really good battle all the way through the field. Miedeke second for the 3rd time in 3 races, and that, my friend, is how you build a championship.
Absolutely.
And what about Jay Murray? This kid is in high school, and he has just battled with the big dogs, and he has come home 3rd outright and 3rd in silver. He's going to get a trophy today. That is huge. Meanwhile, what's been going on behind for the classes? So Walker wins AM class in his 4th outright in front of Chris Lillis, who charged his way up to 5th at the end.
So I saw it out the comms box and I had my hands flailing everywhere.
Oh, Johnson
was putting a move on for P4 outright. And unfortunately we have a wounded McLaren He still finished 12th, great result, but he put a move on at the second to last corner, which obviously was off shot, but I just saw it at the corner of my eye, and unfortunately we have a damaged McLaren.
Yeah, and that's the bonnet that has landed halfway up, the bonnet on the front. Obviously rear engine McLaren, with some precipitation at the end of this one. Yeah, didn't need to make that pass because from a class point of view, he wasn't going to go any further forward. He would have been 4th in class. In the end, he's going to end up in, I think, 8th position in the silver class. What a race.
Crazy.
Plenty going on in that, but it's Audi on top, Ford second and BMW third. Blake Purdy and Job Stewart win from Blake Tracy and George Miedeke, with Jay Murray home in third. That's almost drive of the day, perhaps.
Absolutely.
AM class winner is Walker in front of Callahan and Lillis. Rylan Gray and Taylor Bryant home in 6th place through all of that. Cam McLeod and Mason Harvey, 7th through all of
amazing.
that. Stopped twice. 8th position, McCutcheon and Quinn. So Quinny got back in front of Dean Koutsamides in the run to the line.
It all kicked off over in the wetter part of the track.
So Koutsamides was leading with a lap to go, but Quinny fought back and I think has won the silver AM class in front of McBride and Koutsamides. What a battle. And then rounding out the top 10 was Jake Camilleri. Top 10 outright, that is. And then over the page, Peter Lawrence, Ryder Quinn and Steve Jackie. You get to the bottom of what happened to those guys at the end. They just didn't have much pace. The Loves were there, and then some of the walking wounded. Big stories. Tom Heyman and Jet Murray, 0 points scored. That is a big story. What a race.
This car was fast.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? The moment it got into P2 at the start there, Blake was absolutely hunting Aaron Cameron down. Aaron was obviously conserving a little bit, saving the tyre, and had something to respond with, but that, without their little pit stop issue with the Aaron Cameron car, I think that would have been a grandstand finish for the win.
It's hard to know where the best storyline from that was. This is what happened. Jack Johnson
smashed the window too.
Yeah, it has. I don't know what a McLaren Artura GT4 front screen runs to, but that seems expensive, and the damage on the right front corner as well. So that was such a good drive until right at the very end. Unfortunately, damage to that car, but he got to the finish and got some championship points. So a great win for Job Stewart and Blake Purdy in the Audi, being looked after by Team BRM for Nippies. Huge drive and a great reward for the sponsor that's been on board with that program for a long time. And George doing what George does, just accumulates, doesn't he?
It's so good, and that's what I was saying. They're so thorough in every aspect of how they go racing as a Miedeke Motor Group. They know the rules inside and out. They have drivers who obviously understand the play of what they're trying to do, and George leads by example. He doesn't race people to the absolute death and have a crash. He knows how to play this game, and I think that's why all the young drivers that go alongside him really appreciate the way he goes about it.
They had a 6th from 21st place and a 2nd from 11th place at Phillip Island.
They strategised their way back in 2 weekends now.
So they don't have that outright qualifying pace right now, but what they do have is a really, really strong race car, and that's Sandra Miedeke right of screen now, just celebrating with his team. Glenn Seaton down there too in the Gomersall Motorsport car. So that's Walker who wins the AM class. So just over Chris Lillis, who charged at the end, and this was how it was done.
It was textbook stuff by Stewart. You know, got the run down into the second last corner at the hairpin. Again, you know your competition. You know that George isn't going to do anything silly and door you under brakes, and he also is very respectful on the exit. But that was the move that ultimately won the race. And then George did have a little resurgence back with 2 to go, but I think Stewart had it well under control, and that car was dialed, like we said.
Well, I think as the conditions got worse, the Ford got better at the end there. So maybe it looked after its tyres better. Let's go to Rusty and celebrate that one.
And Kralsey, some of the other class winners have headed to the podium, so we will catch up with them there. Glenn Walker's done an amazing job in this race, 4th outright and a class win in AM as well. Congratulations.
Thanks, Rusty. Pretty amazing outcome. Variable conditions for everyone all weekend, so tough all round, but we kept our nose clean early, which really paid dividends throughout the race. So, yeah, really appreciate the work of the team, sponsors and everyone involved. Yeah, first genuine podium, like first for us, so yeah, really stoked.
It's been a tough weekend for Gomersall Motorsport, but I mean, nice bit of positivity there. I think, did I see Jason creep in the back there before? That's lovely stuff.
You did indeed. Bittersweet outcome. I think, you know, we've heard it before, cars can be repaired. Just really happy that Jace is okay. That's the main thing. He's a really great mate, and he got me involved in this shenanigans. So, yeah, glad he's okay.
Well, shenanigans on track, and you avoided all the drama, mate. Came through with an excellent result in both class and in outright terms. Congratulations.
Thanks, Rusty.
Shenanigans indeed. Let's have a look at how they all played out in that one.
Plenty of them.
The third race in Monochrome GT4 Australia for 2026. A lot happened in that hour, and this feels like a long time ago. It was Lockie Evanet leading Aaron Cameron on the run to turn one. Cameron swept around the outside and got the race lead away in the Ford Mustang. And after some pretty heady battling for second through about sixth position early, he was able to pull away. And this was that heady battling that was going on.
This is off for young and old, but this is a great move by Blake. He just sent it absolutely around the outside. He was never trying to pass both cars. He just needed enough overlap to grab one position. Got the move done, but how close was this?
This was a big send up the inside. Blake Dowdle, slight contact as Evanet turned in, and that would ultimately break the steering on the Supra. And speaking of close, that's what that was. High speed, so close for Jensen Shearer, who unfortunately was out of the race as a result of the contact, and I think that confirms there was steering damage there. Yeah. And then the pit stops, and it was a strange one because the safety car, some cars stopped early, some cars decided to stay out, and they surrendered track position. It was a strange one. As a result, that put the LIQUI Motorsport car in the race lead, so it was Ford Mustang being chased down by the Audi R8, and then the first of a series of great moves from Jay Murray. Had a look up the inside there, couldn't quite get that one done. He would ultimately pass Walker to get himself on the podium, and this was the battle for the race lead.
That was a great move by Stewart, and I like the way they, a lot of respect, and how was the drive through the last 5 minutes for Johnson, absolutely carving his way through for an amazing drive. I'm going to ignore the last two corners because I think he still did incredibly well the whole day, and this car, again, like we said, the Audi was too good all day with both drivers driving the car. They deserve the win, and a very happy man in P2.
Yeah, and great championship points. So that solidifies their position in the Silver Class Championship as well after a really solid start. So they were second in points coming in. That will move them to the lead of the Silver Class heading into tomorrow's race with that DNF for Tom Heyman and Jet Murray as well. Under the current conditions, it's a bit darker there than it perhaps actually is because it chops and changes depending on what corner you're looking at here at the bend as we wait for the Monochrome GT4 Australia podium. And we'll celebrate what was a really entertaining car race, and of course with more to come tomorrow. Ferrari Challenge Australasia still to run next, and then GT World Challenge. And I was going to ask what would the categories have learned, but of course it's changing so quickly, they've probably learned absolutely nothing.
They have learned that the weather radar is lying to them, basically, because like we said earlier, it says there's no rain on the radar, but every time we look out the window, there is a lot of rain coming out of the sky. So I think they would have learned their wet tyre pressure, I guess, for if there is a full wet race. They'll learn the crossover point to when they could go to slicks, but no one's been able to put it into practice yet because we haven't had long enough time or duration when it's dried up to warrant coming down the lane and putting slicks on. So yeah, I think there'll actually be a little bit to study from the Supra that put the slicks on at the end there, because they'll say, yep, we're doing 2-minute 7-second lap time, and he's gone out and done a 2-minute 1. So is the crossover about a 2:09?
And that was the point, wasn't it? Because Frugus was absolutely flying, and they were out of contention, but they rolled the dice and thought, well, we've got absolutely nothing to lose here. Let's throw a slick at it and see how fast it goes. And the answer was, well, it went really fast.
Yeah. You're talking 7-8 seconds a lap, so that means, you know, the wet tyre was well past its due time to swap over to a slick, but you're never going to take that risk when you're at the front of the race. So I think we've learned a lot from the commentary box for tomorrow, but it's hard for the teams when you do have mixed conditions all day, from the moment they rolled out this morning to the moment they finish. But I'm looking forward to going down and finding Johnson and congratulating him on his race. And yeah, I want to actually ask him what's happened in that last 2 corners and see, you know, what he can learn from that, because he's on the cusp of having really good results. And the other one I noticed, they had a mega result, Nathan Murray. Yeah. He's had, I'm going to say it's got to be close to a personal best. He's finished 17th from the back as well. So between the two Murrays, they've passed like 30-something cars.
They have. Yeah. It was such a standout drive as well for Jay, wasn't it, to get up to where he was. And we touched on it during the race. This platform for young drivers like that to showcase what they've got is immense.
That's what I love. And I think, you know, it's hard. You can't say no supercar drivers, but I wish, like, if we got to a point where it was just stacked of the young kids coming through, and we just got to sit here and enjoy watching them learn their craft. And you still have your Medeckis in there, obviously, and Lockie Daltons and stuff like that really show us what the car can do. But these young drivers they're turning it on. Like, it's very entertaining racing, and the moves they're putting on, like Jay Murray, like you said, is in year 12, and the confidence on the brake pedal then was unbelievable.
Now, the podium is now underway, and there is that young man. So he's 17, he's in year 12 at high school in Geelong, so he's completing his final year studies while being a race driver as well.
Here come the winners.
Yeah, and that's the Midfield Motorsport guys, the Lubrimax racing crew.
How's the height difference?
McMillan delivering the trophies, ladies and gentlemen.
That's standard.
That is your Monochrome GT4 Australia Silver Cup winners. We'll let the top place getters rightly take their spot at the top of the podium.
The execution from the Nippies team was elite, wasn't it? The way they put all that together.
Yep, absolutely. From this morning, to be honest, in qualifying, right tyre pressures, right tyre on the car, and here we go. It's full champagne spray. See the people who've got 2 race suits. And Murray on here has one.
I don't think Murray has one. And I don't know if the dry cleaning in Murray Bridge is going to be open tonight.
George, he's more experienced than that, isn't he?
I don't think he cares. He's pretty happy, isn't he?
He's so good.
And a good confidence boost for Job Stewart as well.
I was going to say the same. Yeah, heading into the next round of supercars. Even these little wins, it's not little, it's a stacked field of, you know, oversubscribed cars, and to get the win, that does give you a boost of confidence in any car you drive.
Yeah. Yeah, and Blake Purdy, again, puts his name up in lights. This is the battle for Silver Am. So this swapped a couple of times.
In the last few minutes.
Yeah, so with McCutcheon doing the job at the start, Tony Quinn was leading the class with a couple of laps to go, and then it swapped right at the very end. There's Zach Suter and Glenn Nerwin. So Dean Koutsamini's grabbed the race lead away with Nick McBride, but then Quinny got him back
so good
on the run to the line.
It's great, this category, that there's just epic battles happening the whole way through. You know, they're obviously not maybe on the TV at the time of their battle, but we'll look back at it and find replays and realise Quinny's got the job done, and and he's got the whole of New Zealand on their feet.
With his co-driver who is younger than his own grandson. And I'm not joking, but young McCutcheon is racing for Eggleston Motorsport in the Super 2 Series as well, so he's another fast young Kiwi.
Come on, I thought Quinny would have got amongst it. His son is ready.
I reckon TQ's only got the one race suit, so I think he's locked in there. So that was the Silver Am podium. We heard from Zach Suter earlier, and what Zach's putting together at Team Suter Motorsport is super impressive as well. And he said earlier in a media interview that he wants to move away from it, from just being Zach Suter going car racing to being a professional race team, and they're delivering some results as well with their customers.
He's a really good head on those shoulders. Like, he's very young, and he, like you said in the interview earlier, he was quite funny and humorous with, you know, whatever they do out there I wouldn't have done, but he's obviously teaching the drivers some very good driving ability and habits, and he picked the right tyre to be on, and that's hard when you own the team and drive for them. It's not an easy thing to do.
And a great family around him. His dad Shane has been in the motorsport world for decades, and a 2-wheel champion from Geelong. Another Geelong contingent. They're strong at GT4, aren't they?
Very good racing car drivers and athletes. The mobile race suit there actually reminded me of the one me and Chaz had for the retro suit.
With the HRT spec. I like that. The Casho Homes, that's Chris Lillis. Very nearly won the Bathurst 6 Hour earlier this year, by the way, in a Camaro. So Glenn Walker will celebrate. That's the AM class podium for Monochrome GT4 Australia.
Get amongst it. Look,
Yeah.
He's ripped the cork out with his teeth. That's a real spraying of the champagne.
Great stuff. We thoroughly enjoyed that. There's more Monochrome GT4 Australia coming your way tomorrow. We're going to take a short break from the Ben Motorsport Park, the Shannons Speed Series, LIQUI MOLY GT Festival. Stick around though, the Ferraris are up next.